So the Yankees have pivoted to pitching. Here are 3 trades that they can make or consider that will not gut the farm or require it. Let's talk about it. Good morning, everybody. As you can see, I'm in the basement dungeon here. It's raining outside. Normally, I like to be out there in my YouTube room. My Yankees room hasn't been fully constructed yet, so I'm waiting on that. So I thank you for your patience. But I want to continue talking about this because the news never ends, right? Yankees might make a move today. They might make a move tonight. They might make a move tomorrow. We don't know. But we know they're going to make more moves. That we do know. So let's talk about the retrades. And I want to know what your thoughts are. So for anybody, for some reason that's not sub to this channel, please sub to the channel before you leave. And please hit the notification button too. That way you're always at the front of the line when news comes in. Stuff like this comes in too. And I thank you. Really, I thank you so much for that. His trade 1, okay? Coming up on the screen. Kyle Harrison, a 22-year-old left-handed starting pitcher from the San Francisco Giants, okay? I'm going to put this out again. I'm going to pause it here. And he's basically just starting his pre-arb and arb clock. So he's got multiple years, at least 5 years of control. And the Giants have needs. They do. They brought in Jung-Hoo Lee, and they brought in some other players as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they sign Matt Chapman either as another bat, but they still need some young building blocks as well. So in this particular trade, Oswaldo Cabrera will be heading back, multiple position player. Everson Pereira, outfielder. Oswald Pereira, defensive stud infielder. And they need a reliever too, so I would be sending Ron Marinaccio, who's got a couple of years of control before free agency as well. Okay? So they're getting 4 players, controllable players, for a young, controllable starting pitcher. And those generally have high price tags, okay? But I'm not talking about Corbin Burns. We've talked about Burns or Dylan Cease. We've talked about Cease. We've talked about pairing them with a reliever. We've talked about this for months. So this isn't something that we've talked about already. Okay, we've talked about Bieber and Classy or whatever. We talked about all these. And these are the most talked about folks all the time. So these are new names. And again, I got to give a shout out to Mikey Mazza from Fort Train Express and Pinstripe Chronicles and NFE from the Strike Zone for talking to me about Kyle Harrison and some of these other folks as well. So shout out to those guys for that. Next trade, David Bednar. I talked about him for like a year and a half. 29-year-old right-handed relief pitcher. Closer. Stud. Beast. Okay? The Pittsburgh Pirates need a young building block at first base. Well, Tyler Hardman can represent that. He's a good power-hitting young player. And again, if we can keep him here, he could be a guy that they could use at first base. That said, they have guys like Ben Rice, who could be, who's a lefty hitter, who's also being profiled as a potential first baseman. So is Spencer Jones, their number 1 prospect. He might be in the outfield. He might be in the infield. You never know. But Tyler Hardman represents depth on the Yankees side as well. Prospect depth, offensive prospect depth. And obviously Oswaldo Cabrera, I think he's an attractive trade piece because of his versatility. And the Pirates need an infusion of infielders and outfielders to build around the young nucleus that they already have. So here, Yankees would get a stud closer, David Bednar. They've already started to fortify the bullpen in a couple different ways. So that's good. But David Bednar would bring them that shutdown closer. That way they could put Clay Holmes in the 8th inning and build out the rest of the bullpen as well, should they want to add other pieces too. And again, it's not Bednar and Keller. Mitch Keller, their starting pitcher. Starting pitching has a premium, okay, which is why I would be focusing on Kyle Harrison if I could, rather than some of these other guys like Corbin Burns and particularly Dylan Cease. And again, we can use MLB tradevalues.com and the calculator and all this type of stuff, but doesn't necessarily address the team need in a way. What do I mean by that? Well, teams have a need, and if they're targeting a team that has an excess of players that they need, the trade values don't always line up. So they might be willing to pay more than the trade value calculator evens things out as. So a lot of the trades that actually happen tend to be lopsided trades. So this is why I'm not using the trade values calculator here. This is based on need by team on both sides, and the willingness to move excess pieces, which the Yankees have. So that's trade 2. Let's talk about trade 3. Okay. Garrett Crochet, I've talked about him too. We've talked about him and Dylan Cease, but right now the price tag for Dylan Cease is insanely high. Okay. And we've talked about a trade with the Marlins too for another pitcher. But Garrett Crochet, if you can get him individually, 24-year-old left-handed relief pitcher who could be the shutdown lefty closer. Okay. He's got 3 years of control, just like David Bednar does. The return would be Oswald Peraza. They needed defensively gifted infielder. Well, Oswald Peraza gives them that, and Yoendris Gomez gives them a starting pitching prospect in return as well for Garrett Crochet. I mean, the Dylan Cease price tag is through the roof. The Corbin Burns price tag is through the roof right now. Shane Bieber is probably the only one that the Yankees could realistically get that would not cost them Will Warren or Chase Hampton or maybe even Clayton Beeter. These scenarios, the Yankees could probably get these guys without having to fork up those pieces because of the team's needs. But the Brewers are going to give up Corbin Burns. Very likely going to have to give them an arm in return, a big one. So if the White Sox are going to give up Dylan Cease, they've already made it clear you're going to have to give them a big arm in return. Okay, and while Dylan Cease is tantalizing, he draws comparisons to me of A.J. Burnett. He's unhittable when he's on. He's very vulnerable and very hittable when he's not on. So the up and down worries me for Cease. Okay. Shane Bieber, I'm less concerned with reuniting him with Matt Blake. He had his best under Matt Blake's tutelage. So if that happens, I wouldn't be disappointed. But you add him in Class A, that's going to be an insanely high cost. Okay. So that's why I'm proposing these trades here to be considered. I think they're realistic. At any one of them could be done, I think. And I think these are probably the representative costs to what the Yankees could basically offer these teams to make it happen or close to it. Okay. Again, I'm not moving Will Warren or Spencer Jones for a 1 year of Corbin Burns or 2 years of Dylan Cease. There's no way. I'm not moving Spencer Jones for any Marlins pitchers. No way. Okay, so not doing it. And again, we might not even need to move him for a Marlins pitcher. So, the Marlins have other needs, and the Yankees could probably address those needs in multiple ways and give them 20 years of control instead of just 6 for a Marlins pitcher. But can they get Braxton Garrett or Jesus Luzardo? Have no idea. No idea, but we know the price tag's going to be high. So let me know what your thoughts are on these trades here. Okay, again, I wanted to do the individual reliever trade. And again, there's still plenty of guys that can be had via free agency. So this presents the opportunity for the Yankees to go sign a starter in free agency and add one in a trade. So I do think the Yankees have a two-starter need. I think they'll get 2 starters one way or the other. I don't know who. And maybe one more reliever as well. They've already added 2 to the bullpen. There's still some maneuverability there. Okay, they can move a couple guys in the bullpen to kind of fortify a little bit differently, but we never know what's going to happen. In Brian Cashman, I trust in terms of building a bullpen and fortifying a bullpen. And in Matt Blake, I trust in terms of making starting pitchers and relievers better pitchers. So, but I want to know what your thoughts are. Let me know if these trades have any interest to you. Give me your feedback in the comments. Propose some ideas of your own. Have a great day, gang. I'll talk to you next time.